Riya Kankonkar's channel. Today we'll be learning a new topic from lesson number 1, that is Charles Darwin's theory. But before we start, we are gonna hear a fun fact as we always do to get boosted up to learn science. So here it comes. It tells us the brain is more active at the night than during the day. It was something interesting to know, wasn't it? Now let's start with the Charles Darwin's theory. We will be learning Charles Darwin's theory in 5 points. Let us start. The first point from Charles Darwin's theory tells us that Charles Darwin had collected innumerable specimens of plants and animals, and depending upon the observations of those specimens, he published a theory which he called as the natural selection, which preaches the survival of the fittest. It told us about the theory of natural selection published by Charles Darwin, which preaches the survival of the fittest. That was the first point. Now let's move on to the second point. It tells us about a book which was published by Charles Darwin known as The Origin of Species. Now let us move on to the third point to understand what did Darwin say while explaining his concept. So the first thing which he said while explaining his concept was all organisms reproduce prolifically. That was the first thing he said. He said all organisms reproduce prolifically. The second point said by him was all organisms compete with each other in a life-threatening manner. That was the second point. And the third point he said while explaining the concept was only those organisms sustain which show the modifications essential for winning the competition. That was the third point. And the fourth point which he said while explaining was that, however, natural selection also plays an important role because nature selects only those who are fit to live and the rest perish. So here, perish means die. So these were the 4 points under the third point. Now let's move on to the fourth point. It tells us that sustaining and selected organisms can perform reproduction and thereby give rise to new species with their own specific characters. That was the fourth point. And the fifth point tells us about the objections on Charles Darwin's theory. There are 3 objections, so let us start. So the first objection on Charles Darwin's theory was natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. That was the first objection. The second objection was that he did not mention any explanation about the useful and the useless modifications. And the third objection was that he did not mention any explanation about slow and abrupt changes. So that was all for Charles Darwin's theory. Make sure you revise everything before you leave and then have fun. With this, we have completed our mission for today. Well done and congratulations for earning 5 points. Also, if you have missed any of my previous videos, you can find them by clicking on the card above. I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye.